And we are live. Welcome, everyone. This is Playing in the Star with Sebastian, aka Dr. Spaceman. We got Dylan Tortilla here and Brian. What's up, guys? Good to see you all.
Going good, man.
So, we got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about tonight.
Yes, we
Uh,
do.
PlayStation has been killing it with some news and also stumbled on some stuff that I want to talk about that hasn't been on official channels or anything. It's just I stumbled on some very interesting data that might be revealing some information about where PlayStation's going with everything and what's been happening behind closed doors. So we'll talk more about this later, but I want to check with everyone what's going on. How are you all doing? So, Brian, we want to go first. How you been doing, man?
Yeah,
What you been playing?
well, I've been doing a lot better since I left other platforms behind. Been having a lot of fun. PlayStation has been catering to my needs. I got Dead Island 2 the other day, and I hesitated on picking that up, but then I finally got it, and I even got the, I think it was like the gold edition, and it's been a blast. But what I didn't realize was Dying Light 2 was gonna come in like swinging. They released an update about a couple days ago, as soon after the release of Dead Island 2, where they added the gore update. So the visual goriness of that they were flexing on Dead Island 2, that's in that game. Except we all know it's open world, better parkour
Ooh.
system, the grappling hooks, the newer weapons, the visuals are insane. You can drop kick zombies and it actually explodes against environments. Like you can hit them against the post and it would explode their bodies. You can see their eyeballs coming out. You can pull out their guts and everything. It's like very visceral. It's insane. Loving the new mechanics, the weapon crafting they added to that. So I'm loving both those zombie games because they're like the only two good zombie looters now. Um, About to pre-order. Well, not even a pre-order, but I might just buy it as soon as it comes out, which is the Jedi game. I still gotta beat the first one, but at least I'll have the second one to support them because Respawn has killed it for EA. I might pick Live Alive, and I'm actually looking to pre-order Diablo and Final Fantasy 16 soon
Ooh.
because
Some
my
Let's
B-Day
go.
month is very jam-packed. I
so
got Diablo and Final Fantasy in 1 month.
some big quality games and a lot of them. Wow,
Yeah.
big
Uh,
content. By the way, wanted to thank Polaris Sucks for tipping $5 on the channel. Thank you very much, buddy. Really
nice.
appreciate it. Uh, and Dylan, what's up with you, man? What you been playing? How have things been going?
Things have been going great. Still trying to beat Horizon. Like I said earlier, it's just so
Ooh.
much detail
Excuse me.
packed into that world, and I'm just enthralled. And it's kind of one of those games I finally sit down and just not going back and forth to other games. Because like two podcasts ago, I said I was rotating between Miles and Final Fantasy VII, and I finally decided, played a little bit more Horizon. I was like, there we go. I got the hook. Take down Glint Hawks. Man,
Wait till you get
Thunderjaws.
the
Oh,
armor.
oh man, and just the crafting and like the combat system is just. Oh, I can't wait to get into Forbidden West and just start playing that game. I can't wait.
I will recommend the DLC gives you that taste of what West is gonna be like with the newer weapons because
Ooh.
the slinger, if I recall, it's what they call it. It's like a shotgun. It is so damn satisfying in the DLC for Horizon Dawn, and then the Forbidden West. I was looking at the weapons there, and they have like hand weapons that look like it shoots out. I don't know if it's like missiles, whatever, or type of bows. I don't know what it was, but it looks like it's a gun, like the feel of it. So
Oh
I'm very
yeah,
excited to it.
Like the one you
you
kind of hold
crank
like
it, you
that.
hold it, and
Yeah, there's that
Yeah.
one. And then there's one with the like it came out of her hand. I don't know what it was, but it looked pretty insane. I was like, oh shit, okay, this looks insane. And then there's like a grappling hook mid-fight. So I was watching somebody's clip on the Twitter timeline. I'm like, get the fuck out, dude. They,
yeah,
like anybody who says that another game is better than that visually, gameplay mechanic wise, I'm like, yeah, you're fucking capping.
There ain't no other game that was
Uh,
better.
I don't want to hear that shit that it's boring, you can kiss my ass with that. That game is fucking amazing. Reddick fucking killed it with his voice acting. I loved him as the villain in a sense.
He's not the villain. He's an awesome
Okay.
character in it.
He is. Let's be honest. He is sort of a villain in the sense because he is helping the opposite side.
Okay, it gets very complicated in the game.
I haven't got into the second one. This is all based off
It's
the first
very nuanced. The guy is trying to do the right thing in
What he
his
thinks
own
is the right
ways. So it's a very nuanced. I don't want to go in spoiler territories,
one. Exactly.
but let's just say that while he takes the unethical choices to try to get a
Oh,
result,
like The Last of Us.
to get the good results. Yeah. So
It's like Colin in the first game where his family was, being held hostage by the Shadow Karja. He didn't want to like hurt Aloy, so Aloy. So it's like that's what I love about this game: real human characters and emotions.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just like The Last of Us. Like Sony has that pact, like the drama, putting like the formula for a TV show drama in a game that it's interactive, full gameplay mechanic. And here's the thing that kills me, and I've seen people talk about this, that God of War is just a walking simulator. No, a fucking walking simulator was Death Stranding, but my God, those graphics were gorgeous, and the vistas
Decima.
were beautiful. And I didn't know that. That's why I was like, fuck, this shit is fucking amazing. Like, I'm looking at the face details of Norman and shit, and I'm like, dude, they fucking got him down packed. And the Literally's happy to be part of the project. And ever since like The Walking Dead, he was one of my favorites when he plays as Daryl. And I'm just like in awe, seriously. And God of War, they're like, oh, it's Sony games are the same formula. I'm like, no. The only same formula I can say about Sony is that it's quality, man. These games are standing on its own. It may not hit Nintendo numbers because that's more nostalgia type shit. Let's be honest. Sony is in its own league when it comes to quality studio games. It's literally like a movie. Like I looked at even Sackboy when playing a game with the wife, and the intro is the same one they showed in the movie theaters with PlayStation Studios, and it's like, yeah, it's I forget what it reminds me of, but it's like one of the other movies.
Like Marvel.
Yeah, similar to Marvel. There you go. It's like when you go to the movies and that shit pops up, and it's like, damn, that hits. It has all the iconic people. Nathan Drake. You got Kratos. Everyone's popping up in there. MLB. I'm lost for words, man. Sony is just killing it. And honestly, I want to bring that to our first topic, which was their acquisitions, if that's what you want to do, Doc, with the probably Monsters and Firewalk that's under them. But it turns out there's 2 more studios.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
I haven't finished. Yep. We haven't finished. So yeah, you've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. Is that mostly
Yeah. Oh yeah. 41 hours and just
focus
nonstop. Yeah, just focus on Horizon. It's so good.
Nice.
That's how dedicated I am to getting to.
Did you get the armor?
I've gotten a couple of pieces of armor. What I've been doing is just upgrading like my health pouch so I can carry a lot. Get my mount.
No, the armor.
Oh no, I didn't get it yet. No.
Yeah, I went on Google and immediately just fucking played all day to get it, because that armor is just like next level satisfaction. Like, oh.
Well, it pretty much makes you invincible. I didn't get it. I was about to get it because I was talking to to Dylan about that before we went live. I was pretty far in Horizon Zero Dawn. I was about to get that armor along with a bunch of stuff. I was almost done the game. And then I sold my PS5 and I forgot, like the old PS5, and I forgot to back up my save for Horizon Zero Dawn. And then when I went back into play into the cloud, which I was thinking like I'll just do a few other stuff and I'll go back to Horizon Zero Dawn, but it plays well in the cloud, and figured out I didn't back up my save and I had lost a whole bunch of progress.
Ooh.
Like hours and hours, like tens of hours. So that's why I never completed Zero Dawn, because I was almost done and lost my save. So that's why I went directly to Forbidden West so I could get a taste of the good stuff that's happening right now with Decima. But eventually I will go back to Zero Dawn and clear it all. But yeah, it's good stuff. So as for myself, this week I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. I finished the campaign so that I could start Burning Shores, the new DLC. And the leap ahead in terms of graphics, fidelity, the gameplay mechanics, they've added some stuff like you were talking about the grappling hook and all that in battle. They've added a lot to the game. They really pushed it to the next level, and it's looking fantastic. Was taking pictures of the vegetation, the like all the plants. It's crazy the amount of like the detail in the vegetation around. Like it was like my wife started like collecting plants just lately. She wasn't into that before, but it just like got a few, and it's like, oh, there's some nice plants here, and like started studying them and like growing more and more and getting different varieties. And she was showing me those plants the same day, like, oh, one of my friend got some Monstera deliciosa. It's like a really awesome plant, and look, and then I'm playing the game and remembering the picture my wife just showed me the day earlier, and looking at a tree that's freaking full of those plants on that look amazing. It's like, what the hell? Take some screenshot during the streams, and like the leaves are very detailed, and sent them to my wife. She's like, what? It vegetation looks, it's fantastic. It just looks amazing. The game plays well. Graphics are amazing. They really did a great job with that game. So I'm really loving that. Plus, I've played also some Disney Speedstorm, the new kart racer. It's a lot of fun. The service game element is good. I feel like it's a bit heavy, but it gives you what?
I would say it needs some tweaking.
It needs some
servers,
tweaking, yeah.
The servers weren't that great. And I've looked at some articles, and they say that it's played by the free-to-play formula in a sense. When you look at it, and it's, I get why Disney's doing it, because obviously they're about the money, microtransactions, and they know it's going to sell regardless, because kids are going to want to buy those packs. And when I just like Fortnite, it's the same effect. Problem is, I don't know how well it's going to do. Is it a fun game? Yes. Is the content going to be there? Maybe. It just depends how long it takes to put it out.
Yeah, the game is fun. The graphics are phenomenal for a kart racer. It looks great. It feels great. The DualSense, the controls, like you feel the gas, the brake, and all, it's phenomenal. I really appreciated how well they implemented the DualSense for something that's cross-platform like that. But the service game part of it, the microtransactions, is a bit heavy-handed.
Makes sense as Game Loft. That's their bread and butter. Mobile. They're so used to it. Modern Combat. I'm sure you played Modern Combat also.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you know.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Still very enjoyable, and you still have access to most, if not all, the characters if you're playing on custom maps. Just if you're playing online or story mode, there you have to unlock everything. So yeah, it's got some good going for it. So just gonna go around the chat, see what's up in there. So we got Raven Anime, Saint Pika. What's up, Raven? Good to see you. We got Polaris Sucks, hail to the panel. And he also donated $5. So thanks again. Very appreciated for the support. And says, I'm 95% done, Miles, playing Resident Evil 4 Remake on my PS5.
Ooh, I still need to finish that.
Quality title.
Wait, you haven't finished Miles?
Miles and or Resident Evil 4. I can't believe that. Every time I get reminded I didn't do Resident Evil 4 Remake, yeah, I'm like...
I'll put it this way, man. I put Marvel games ahead of anything. Okay? There's only one Marvel game I haven't beaten, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, such a good game. Very good game.
Miles, I haven't finished Miles. I've got good progress on it, but I'm I'm not in a hurry to play it until we're closer to the release of Spider-Man 2.
The story is so damn
Oh
good.
yeah, it is amazing. But I'm looking at it, but I'm looking at Horizon, and I'm like, okay, I can wait a tiny bit for Miles. At least
No, you can't. There's still
we're not
DLC.
on the verge of Spider-Man 2 coming out, but Spider-Man 2 will be my top priority when it comes out, so Miles will be done by then.
Did y'all
Uh,
even do the DLCs for all the Spider-Man games at least?
oh yeah, I got my platinum plus all the DLC cleared for Spider-Man Remastered.
'Cause
I
I'm
got.
sorry, but it's so damn good.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's.
I am honestly gonna. I sent you guys that meme with a little GIF. That's my reaction to when Wolverine comes out. Is literally me about to bust. That's gonna. As soon as I see the game trailer, I'm gonna be like, ah, fuck yes.
No,
Just fucking
uh,
overflowing.
I can wait. And the studio's growing. They're now 520 employees and over.
Wow.
That's fucking insane. I thought that was a typo. I thought it was supposed to be 250.
No. Insomniacs is at now over 520 employees. When they were acquired by PlayStation, I think they were like 150,
Yeah.
something like
So
that.
that
Mhm.
tells me something then.
They're
We can look more
investing
into,
in their
yeah.
studio.
We can talk. That's another thing we can add to our topics, but I'll wait till we get
And
over everything first.
that's the thing.
Hence, well, the surprise.
Those studios, like, we could say, okay, tomorrow we're doing a hiring spree. There are going to be 3,000. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You have to grow over time because
No.
you have your personnel who's trained on the engine, who's trained on the method of working at that studio, all the software and everything. The content generation, the art department, they have a certain way of doing their process. And as it goes, they can welcome new apprentices to join them and learn the trade. But you cannot be like a team of 2 and get 5 more people added to the team and expect them to learn the way the team is working. You have to slowly populate it over time and get the training done. So now they're at 520, which means they've been continuously hiring and expanding the teams. So now they're at a very good place where they can take multiple projects at once, which is why Spider-Man 2 is coming out this year. Wolverine apparently is coming not too far behind.
Yeah, it's next year.
2024.
Fall 2024, I think.
Yeah, it's rumored for fall 2024. We don't know yet if it's going to release at that time, but a lot of rumors that it's coming very soon.
But let's be honest. At this rate, my speculation is they're gonna expand beyond. Like we already said this before, but now it's definitely guaranteed. It's gonna be a whole Insomniac.
Marvel Universe?
Yes, it has to be. They might even do a Blade game. They might do a Venom game at this rate.
You
The-
want to know something else that just popped in my mind seeing the news today?
Mm,
Disney is in trouble right now. They're laying off 4,000 employees today,
oh,
they
that,
announced.
yeah.
It's really bad news. But for a while, since Bob Iger has come back into office, they've been talking about selling the entirety of Disney. They want to find new owners. There was rumors that Apple might be in the league to buy them, but they want to find someone to acquire Disney. Selling Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, and all the shebang together with Fox and everything together,
That's so much.
it's a big transaction. We know what's going on with Activision Blizzard Kings, which is kind of a similar organization. It's very big with many different corporations are a part of it. It's complicated. It's expensive. And
These are like the largest IPs.
seeing how it's doing with ABK might not entice people into buying something that size. Now, if they were to segment it and sell Marvel, who's got already the rights for Spider-Man and everything Spider-Man related? Sony. Sony would be a natural first in the list to be considered for buying Marvel, a natural first in the line. And with Insomniac doing their Marvel universe, it would just make everything so much easier. plus the potential Sony Pictures having the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, being available to them. They can get Kevin Feige on board to continue what is going on. So it's something that's not impossible that could happen. But we're just going to continue reading the chat to see what's up with everyone. But it's something we could continue talking about in a moment. So my casual in bed gamer right now is AoE 2 on xCloud. AoE, that's...
Age of Empires, yeah.
Okay, yeah, Age of Empire. Nice.
I can't play old fucking games. I can't.
Oh, but
That's a
Age of
classic.
Empires is good.
It's a classic.
It can stay a classic, just not for me.
And we got Run Slusher in the chat. What's up? I've been playing a lot of Sackboy, my surprise PS5 game. Sackboy is a lot of fun. It's a great platformer. And we got Spectrum. Spectrum, what's up? Good to see you, man. Hello, all. No vet tonight. No, he's currently on a trip. He's vacation. And just Polaris says, has anyone else been having issues with PS5? I have Sean every day. I have to flick internet on and off where it's not working. Wi-Fi doesn't have issues. Something to do with IPv6. I haven't had any issues with my internet ever.
It could be its own hardware. If you're using hardware that isn't yours and you're using hardware from a company or provider, then that can cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, I'd look into the modem. Might be IPv6. It could be something to do with the security, like the firewalls that you might have to push an authorization for your PS5. Bit technical to talk about during the stream, but there might be something to do with safety features on the modem. Maker says, by the way, what's up, Maker? Good to see you. Insomniac is pretty massive now. Yeah, they've been growing. Bigger than Santa Monica. Disney wouldn't sell Marvel. I can't agree with that. I really can't agree with that.
Well, there's an article that says that they're actually selling off their stakes in Hulu in order to buy more of Marvel stuff.
They're selling Hulu?
Marvel is their biggest thing. So I agree. For once, I'll agree with Maker on something.
Why I disagree is because of the possibility that they might just sell everything. They want to, if they do sell Disney, they'll want to break it down before the transaction, or else the transaction will be way too complex.
So, do you think then Sony's relationship with Warner Brothers will have to be toned down in correlation if that, hypothetically, that purchase does happen? Because Suicide Squad was shown off at State of Play. A lot of DC stuff are now being associated with Sony. So if it gets a little bit too heated with those at the same platform, I don't think they want that much heat on them. But it'll be very interesting, in my opinion, because
because then Sony would have WB and Marvel. That's gonna be
Marvel and DC.
But they already kind of have with Insomniac.
Yeah.
They got Avengers Tower and Spider-Man. So they're there.
Yeah, so it's something interesting to look at. So
we never know. It's always a 50-50. I'll put it that way.
But the selling Marvel thing is really in the optic of if Disney is looking at getting acquired by a different corporation, because it's the shareholders basically that are looking at selling Disney as a whole to have basically, like, if it was to go under Apple, which has been one of the names dropped as a possible acquirer for Disney, they would have a lot of assets that could benefit Disney to push the content and all. But if a company like Apple was to acquire Disney, it would be a lot of investigations and like looking into if it wouldn't give them too much of a hold on the industry and entertainment. So a bit like we're seeing right now with ABK. So that's why we're seeing Square, apparently according to rumors, has been getting rid of a lot of their studios and a lot of their IPs to slim down. And rumors has been that it's because they're looking at doing an acquisition and merger, which would make everything a lot more simple if they're lighter. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
classic Square Enix, closing down Western studios when their game doesn't sell well.
yeah, so maybe minor IPs, but not in the entirety of Marvel. And Polaris says it's new 2023 AOE
Oh, the
remake.
remaster, the AOE remaster,
Yeah, it's
definitive edition.
yep. They've put it
Yeah,
on
I know what it
Expo.
is. It's not for me. I'm not a big RTS guy. I
I know
used
it
to be.
had good reviews,
Oh,
so and I used to enjoy that game back on PC and on a Pentium.
Pentium 2.
Yup. And Maker says, yeah, that came out back in January, I think. Yeah, it did. Uh, excellent. So, uh, we were gonna start with the stuff about PlayStation and what's going on with their acquisition, and they just acquired Firewalk, I think.
Actually, it was Apple. The way we have it in order, we were gonna do the Apple Sony partnerships.
yeah.
Oh
Do a little
yeah,
showcasing, then Firewalk, and then talk about some more in-depth stuff of what's going on with Firewalk because there's more to it than that.
yeah. So
Because Apple and Sony have a lot going on, and they've had been for a while, but it's been becoming more obvious lately. And for the first time in history, they're sharing their camera that's custom made for iPhones, the Pro Max series that's coming out this year, where those cameras have been specified mostly for the Sony devices, which is impressive. It's like the Mark II 48 megapixel camera.
that article actually came out in December. I won't take this one because it doesn't go in detail.
Yeah, the Zuby tech info that we
Yeah,
saw on Twitter was definitely more informative of a breakdown, but
yeah. I'll
it
go to his page. He had some good stuff on there.
yeah, that made me excited to keep my iPhone line. Because that was my biggest issue. It's the one when you take raw photos and you do edit them, and Apple has made it super easy to do that. I have to show the wife later on because she loves taking photos. She has over 400 gigs, does more than I do. Imagine in raw format. That's going to be insane.
So yeah, iPhone 15 Pro Max rumored to have the Sony's IMX903 48 megapixel sensor.
Yep,
Also going to Sony Xperia Pro 1
exactly.
Mark III. So this they're using the 48 megapixel version of the sensor. There's also one that's 200 megapixel for Samsung. The difference though is this one's 48 megapixel, but it has 20% higher light. Basically, captures more light than the Samsung one, even though it has less pixels. So image quality will be better with this one.
Yeah.
So
This is going to be tough competition for Samsung. This is their lowest quarter since '09. I mean,
so
if Sony partners with Apple, that's going to be tough competition.
Well,
Apple
Sony
is
has always been partnered with
Oh,
Apple.
yeah.
It's just this is the first time they've done a sensor of this caliber because it's
yeah.
high quality and it's normally been on their Xperia line, and those phones go for like 1500 to 2 grand. So that says a lot, and that's the only reason why I brought it up is because I feel like there's going to be more in-depth things behind the scenes going on with Apple and Sony that could be correlated to gaming as well at some point.
To get involved with that kind of hardware, there is definitely some. They're getting good relations together. Their partnership is going well. We've seen it for a very long time. Like the moment the PS5 came out, not long after, the DualSense was available on the App Store, in order to use with Apple devices. So there is definitely some good relations, and we won't hide it. Apple is their biggest rival is Microsoft. Sony, their biggest rival is Microsoft. So the enemy of my enemy is my ally. So they've definitely been talking and looking at possibilities to expand their business lines. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But that news of the sensor of that size being used on the iPhone, definitely interesting and definitely great news for your iPhone users. So that'll be on the for iPhone 15 Pro Max
Yep.
apparently. So yeah, the expect the camera in the back of the phone to be quite sizable because that's a very big image sensor there.
Yeah, but they're also obviously going to lessen out the bezels as every iteration happens. So get more screen real estate finally again.
Hey, Ray's in the chat. What's up, yo? Lurking. Hello, gentlemen. Good to see you, Ray.
Right.
So, after
And
that,
then, yeah, and then we want to move into the showcases for PlayStation. That's the biggest thing. We were also talking a little bit about what's coming up with WB, as Dylan mentioned, is that their partnership is also, again, this is what Sony does, it's partnerships. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that in the business of gaming. Make it about gaming, have partnerships that can benefit you. And
not make it all about buying your competition.
basically,
Mm-hmm.
build up that quality. And WB is huge because, again, they're going to be promoting Harry Potter. They're promoting or marketing for Mortal Kombat, and the room as it is, Mortal Kombat could make an appearance for the May showcase for PlayStation, and that is going to be huge. Reason being, Sony already invested a lot of money in Evo. They bought it basically. They've done their own invitationals that they can do that's built into the PS5 for those who are huge fighting fanatics, and there's plenty of those. Yep, there you go. I mean,
Dear boy.
and this is just one game. We're not even talking about Tekken 8. We're not even talking about Street Fighter 6, which, by the way, the demo, fire. But I will say that the modern controls are fucking dog shit. It's ass.
I
It
know.
limits
right?
you so bad. I can barely do any fucking moves at all. I literally went, fucking little stupid jab or a little fucking kick. Meanwhile, as soon as I went to the classic controls, I was literally doing combos out the fucking ass and was able to connect the supers and everything. There you go.
Oh,
Look at that, man. Look at him been trying to be professional.
Love fighting games. Oh my god, I've been waiting for this all day.
look at
all
Dylan
day.
waddling his stick around.
Hey, you know,
Yeah, I can't
I-
waddle
I'm
mines
fine.
around right now.
what can I say? I'm a champion.
We'll find out. Let's if you get Tekken 8, you can see me in that. That's my game. I love Tekken. But man, this is huge news because it's like Sony knows their fan base. They know how much popularity is going into these fighting games. How many sales have gone in? Look what happened. What was it with that one game? DNF Fuel or something. What it's called?
Yeah, DNF.
Yep, that was huge. Did good numbers for them. Got a lot of viewership. Yep, that was another one. I mean, Sony knows what they're doing. They know their market. They know what they're doing because behind the scenes, they have a good marketing team. I mean, I don't know about you guys, and again, this isn't throwing shade. This is all going to be Sony centric this episode. Every time, I even asked the wife this. Every time we go to the movies, because we're movie buffs, at least I am as well, we never see any other commercial except PlayStation in terms of gaming. I don't even see Nintendo stuff, except for when I went to see Mario. That was obviously but,
Pretty much a Nintendo
yeah,
feature.
yeah. So he had to pop it in there. But every other movie I've seen, it's Sony, 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 Sony. I mean, look at the marketing when they had those huge figures, the statues and whatnot of the consoles and everything in different countries.
Yeah.
Who else would do that?
A pop-up restaurant Horizon Forbidden West in France.
Yeah, like
Where
very
people
market-
could eat free. Like they have a restaurant, you don't pay anything, you just line up, sit down. There's like plants all around you, like a decor that's really awesome, and they're serving you food inspired by the games. Like what?
Exactly. I mean, it's just I'm loving what Sony's doing, and this is going to ease into our next topic, as well, is the fact that they have organic growth, and there was two people that are now been promoted within Sony. Herman Holst, and I forget her other name. I'm trying to remember it.
Uh,
Smets,
uh,
something Angie Smets, I believe.
Yeah, he's there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she was promoted and for PlayStation Studios now because guess what? Decima is now the highlight engine for their upcoming live service games and probably future first party games. They're trying to utilize that engine for majority of their games now. Why? Because it's shown the capabilities that it can do and achieve. Like no game comes close to what we've seen from Death Stranding or Forbidden West. I mean, we can't lie to ourselves. That game is visually impressive. They have geniuses in that studio, and the guy now has to work full time to progress that engine. But Doc even said this before this all came about as well, because we discussed this. Is now that they're going to utilize this engine more because this way, guess what? They can improve the engine even further out.
That's a 10 years old engine, by the way. The first game to have released on that engine, 2013, and it's Killzone Shadow Falls. So that
That
was
game was
a,
gorgeous.
it looks
Yeah.
amazing. I loaded up the other day, and you can clearly see that looks like Horizon Zero Dawn in an FPS. It's a first-person shooter, but it looks like Horizon. The character models, the environment, the lighting. It's the Decima engine. It looks amazing for a game made in 2013. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Oh my lord.
And I was
So
having, and here's my thing. There's a certain studio that's or development team that's under PlayStation right now that's having a lot of backlash. I have friends in my Facebook chat that were literally telling me how the fucking game is getting like bashed to oblivion because it's such dog shit. Their engine that they're utilizing, they're tired of it. It's gone for years. It keeps getting worse, and it's showing. Anyone can guess what that is?
Hmm.
Bungie,
It's a live service game. Yeah.
Destiny, Tiger engine.
Yes. It is fucking horrid. And the fact that I read an article that they want to utilize it for the next game, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. But I'm hoping Sony steps in, and I know they have this agreement, mutual agreement, where like, hey, everything's gonna be multiplat. You can do whatever you want with your game, but for the love of God, use Decima Engine. Make that shit shine.
Look,
I mean,
as much as Tiger Engine gets, shit on here, Destiny 2 got some beautiful vistas sometime, Witch Queen had a
okay,
beautiful,
okay,
beautiful environment.
but it's not that hard when it's all simplified. It's all one little area. It's literally all the same. If when it comes to assets, let's be honest, it's space. That's why Starfield's getting shit sometimes because it can look nice and everything, but it's still that same setting. There's only one game that I've seen that made that setting look beautiful because it actually has color. It doesn't look gloomy and shit, and that's No Man's Sky. And that didn't happen in like a year or two. That shit took forever, and they had to come back from being beaten down, and they made history with that. They had the
Yeah,
biggest
Yeah.
comeback.
Hello
definitely.
Games has been pretty epic in rebuilding their game and upgrading it.
Yeah, and every update they do is in that small little fucking tweaks or quality of life shit. No, it is massive list of improvements. I'm like,
Loads of
damn, it's
content.
impressive. So Decima Engine, I feel like is going to be utilized, and I think Bungie's going to have to take the backseat and be like, you know what, fuck yeah, our engine sucks ass, and people have told us it sucks ass. So let's use what we have in front of us. I mean, why not? Who wouldn't?
Destiny 3 on Decima.
Dude, that
Horizon 3 on Decima.
I would fucking throw money at it. I would throw it like it's a stripper. Fucking that shit.
So
Fucking take my money.
Maker says it makes sense. Mortal Kombat would be at Sony showcase since Sony owns Evo.
Yep.
They've put themselves in that power position. They've made really good choices, and Sony definitely has the best marketing. And Destiny 2 isn't a bad looking game.
It's not the looks, it's the running. The fact that all the content, everything that they're trying to implement, and this is from people who are diehard Destiny fans are saying this. They're fed up with it. And especially because they've invested so much time grinding, because it's a live service game, to get these weapons and these gears. It's that the engine is showing that it's old as fuck, and it's not going to go well.
But like I was saying though, Decima is 10 years old. Older if you consider development time for Killzone Shadowfall.
for Killzone.
But it's been well maintained.
Well, now it's a
Uh,
2.0, just like Unreal Engine with their 5.0. So
yeah.
it just gets upgraded.
Yeah, they do upgrades on it. They work a whole lot on it. So Tiger Engine could also be fixed. They have the engineers that work on Decima that could find some fixes, but they could
I would
also
think
they could
scrap
also transfer to Decima and just
Yeah,
make
scrap
it.
it.
Let's all use the same engine. And like I was thinking of other games that would benefit from that. Imagine Ghost of Tsushima on Decima.
Here's my thing though. The game itself already had beautiful facial visuals with the voice acting and seeing the mouth movements because the first game that ever really do that kind of stuff was actually from Rockstar and it was the what the fuck was it called? LA Noir.
Yeah,
That game had the most phenomenal face tracking animations. It was
Oh
crazy
yeah.
good. And the fact that we've come so ahead in gaming that even in Decima Engine you can see that and it looks freaking beautiful.
Hmm.
I mean, uh, I
I
know as
don't.
soon as I turn on that game, I don't know if I'm gonna put it down.
It's like pretty sure I got some pictures I've put in
Oh, I
there.
saw those pictures. Yeah,
Yeah, like the face, the skin pores, and everything, like Aloy. I'm
man,
trying
you
to
can see
find.
them nice ass
No,
eyelashes and shit. Like, damn.
no,
You see the
I have a thought for
reflection
you.
in the eyes of what's in front of her. That's
It's
how
so good.
phenomenal
Ray
it is.
tracing. Just baked in ray tracing.
But it's like
No, I got.
specified. That's pinpointed. So that's what they do good. Like Sony knows how to utilize their engines and their games and their tools, the hardware, all of it.
Now, hear me out, Spaceman. Metal Gear Solid 3 remake with Decima. Since Konami is very open with other engines, since Silent Hill 2 remake is using Unreal 5, not their in-house proprietary engines that they used to have. I'm not even sure if they're using Fox Engine anymore for their
No, they're
games.
not. Fox Engine was dog shit. It went to
Yeah,
shit.
So
damn,
that's
it's
not the
unfortunate for that.
pictures I was talking
Oh.
about,
But
but
Metal Gear Solid 3 uses so much like lush jungle and vibrancy that this game, yeah, Horizon Forbidden West just clearly oozes just atmosphere of the jungle. And Metal Gear Solid is the perfect game. 3 is the perfect game for that. Come on, Konami, come on. I know you're working with Sony here somehow. Give me that remake, baby. I'll pay for it. I'll pay any dime.
I don't know, but the fact that the Decima engine is now going to be like the main focal point for so many other games is insane, and it goes to show how much work has been put in.
Do you think it's like also that sort of not thinking there's like any correlation, but it's just an interesting thought. Since like the only example I can think of just like an engine consolidation was Dice Engine, right? Dice Engine works sometimes on some games, it doesn't work on every game the other time.
Here's the thing, though, Decima has been slowly branching out to different variation of games because, again, look at like Doc
So,
mentioned, it was on a first-person shooter, and that was fucking
yep,
gorgeous.
Killzone.
And then you have the UPS simulator with Death Stranding, and that looked fucking gorgeous. And now you have a fast-paced action game, and it looks amazing still. It maintains and it upholds the gameplay mechanics with the visuals. I mean, look at the fucking individual strands of the hair on the eyebrows. Like
The eyebrows and the eyelashes,
yeah,
just the path tracing of like the light source on
the
the eyes is
freckles. She got crow's feet. Look, her ass is getting old as shit. She's like, I'm
all
done with
rendered,
it. It's like,
always rendered.
uh,
Unbelievable.
it is. It's a whole nother level. And the beautiful thing about having a unified engine that everyone's utilizing is updates. Everyone gets hit with them at once if
Mm-hmm.
needed. And everyone's already familiar with it. So if somebody needed help from the team, Sony has so many studios and so many employees, so many developers. They're gonna all be like, "Hey, do you need some help with this game? Yeah, cool, gotcha. Move that person to that side." You know what I mean? It's like everyone's gonna be knowledgeable with that engine now.
you
Even
can
like the
even see the small facial hair, like
hairs.
the hair
What the
follicles.
hell? What the hell? There's no way games can look that good today. I'm still like in shock. I'm like, I'm
I don't
playing.
want to even play the game because I'm still playing the fucking first
Well,
one.
yeah, I'm playing Zero Dawn. Like, there's no way games can look better than this, and then they do. It
I haven't even
reminds me
touched
of
it,
Final Fantasy. That's how bad it is. Like I love Final Fantasy the core, but I haven't even been able to beat the Crisis Core or the remake initially with the Yuffie DLC, all because I keep looking at Forbidden West or Ragnarok, and I'm like, fuck, man, I really need to finish these first party games.
Ragnarok too.
I haven't even finished the first one, 2018. I'm like,
Oh, wow. I
like you
bought
can
my
see the
PS5 just for
reflection
Ragnarok.
in her eyes, like
I haven't even
of
finished
what's in
Ratchet and Clank.
front.
I'm
I wasn't
slacking.
born Ratchet and Clank fan. I don't know
See,
what's with
I'm
that
more a
vibe.
Sly Cooper. Ratchet and Clank was good, but I was Sly Cooper, Jack and Dexter type guy.
I didn't
So
grow up with.
just the details, like you can see the sand behind. So she's in the desert, and you can see like the reflection of the dunes bit in her eyes there.
Bro, the actual detail of the eye, like the inside, is insane.
Gorilla does it again. Gorilla are masters of their craft.
And
Since
that
this,
is a photo that was compressed from Twitter.
that's not even the best version. My lord.
Yeah, no. All right. Before I get fucking like irritated, because then I want to play the game and then I haven't beaten it yet.
Get
uh,
out of here.
we're gonna go into our, I mean, almost final topics. We got a few more to overlap and keep going. But Doc, the biggest one, there you go, Firewalk.
Firewalk, a game, not a studio that comes
Yep.
from Probably Monsters. Now, who is Probably Monsters?
They're talent scouts.
They're supposed to be a publisher on paper.
Supposed to be.
What games have they
Embrace it.
published?
None.
So, last year, Sony announced that they were partnering with Firewalk Studio, this studio here, to work on an IP. And now it's being revealed that they've actually been working quite a while together for a few years.
Yes.
It's not brand new. It's not from last year. I think like it's a
So
good
5
4 or
years.
5 years, yeah, that they've been working
5 years.
together. It's just they announced it last year that we just partnered up with Firewalk, who actually have been working with us for 4 years, so now 5.
And then they acquired them.
They just acquired them this year, and it's like it's a studio part of the Probably Monsters family of studio. So you'd assume it's a publisher, but you look at studios, click
Yep, scroll
studios
down.
right here, Firewalk, and coming soon, Cauldron and Battle Barge. Two other studios whom I've seen a insider talk about the fact that they know that those studios are
by
possible
PlayStation.
acquisition by PlayStation in the future. So, what's up with that?
Well, Doc, if you scroll down further, because it also says what they're working on, because I looked it through everything as well and did some research and digging in. So right there, that little interaction. So Firewalk, if you go in there, it shows they're making an original multiplayer game, their live service.
Yep.
And if you type to the right with the icon, then they have their
Cauldron.
own, which is RPG games and some other games that are all original IPs.
Battle Barge is doing original co-op RPG games.
Yep, that's the RPG
And
one.
if you go to Battle Barge, if you're trying to look into more detail about the devs that
Studio.
are part, so the team, third new studio from Probably Monsters, led by 4 key founders with a storied history of collaboration on successful original RPGs. Here I'm trying to find where it was. College gaming friend Dunbar and Leffler worked together at creation of Mythos at Flagship Studios before leaving to co-found Runic Games in 2008. Lead level designer on Borderlands, later joined on Fong, who built global partnership for Perfect World. Began working with the team shortly after Inception. At Runic, they created Torchlight, seminal RPG, basically Diablo. If you're not familiar with Torchlight, it's a shinier, happier version of Diablo. A lot of
Yep.
fun. Similar RPG released in 2009, leading to the studio being named the top 5 developer by Gamma Sutra. Follow-up game Torchlight 2 came out in 2012 and cemented in multi-platinum series as a global franchise. Since joining Forza Quartet has worked closely together for over a decade in an atmosphere of cooperation that goes beyond their formal discipline and roles. They're joined by veteran talent major studios including Ubisoft, LucasArts, and Blizzard, as well as additional Borderlands alumni from Gearbox. So those guys are making a co-op RPG that's pretty much gonna go against Diablo most likely.
Yep.
And this one they don't talk about Sony, but if you go Cauldron, Dave Matthews, studio head of Cauldron, uh, spent over 3 decades experience managing large teams while helping build franchises like God of War, Myst, Fear, and Destiny.
Yep.
Formerly lead character artist at Sony Computer Entertainment of America, and art director at Bungie and Monolith Production, having shipped over 20 titles across multiple platform and game engines. Matthews finds his greatest impact in leading teams to excellence as studio head. Matthews is excited to work with highly talented and motivated professionals, helping them push to the limits of imagination execution, deliver compelling worlds, characters, and experiences that delight players around the world. And they go on to explain more stuff of his career. So, adding
And if
to
you look at
that,
their leaders, though, it actually shows that majority of these people were actually from Microsoft. Ironically.
you talking about for Firewalk or?
No, in general, look at the leaders, and the CEO and founder, Harold Ryan, is
Yep.
actually the one who is responsible for making or generating over $5 billion of revenue for franchises as Halo, Destiny, Age of Empires, and Mech Warrior.
Yeah.
And then the VP Tech was also, again, with Halo and Destiny, and did the data centers for Microsoft, or MSN, which is basically Microsoft. And they had all these other people who literally had worked with Microsoft. So it's like they took their experiences from them, brought it over here.
It's a
And
bit of a
it's like,
mishmash, though.
yeah. And then you got people who were, experienced with fighting games, or actually Warner Brother games. Right here, Ann Marco for VP Global Marketing. She was a former executive for Warner Brothers, and did Lego, DC, and Mortal Kombat. All of this honestly screams Sony at this point, because it's all people who have had experience in the previous past with other IPs and whatnot, and it's all like correlating to what their end goal is, where they're going to take over the fighting scene with all the high end games. They're going to be the known system for superhero games, whether it's Marvel or DC at this point. So they have a lot of crazy good partnerships, and there's no denying it at this rate.
So, if you look at the industry, what is the most valuable asset you can have? It's talent. Way above anything else, talent is the most valuable resource. How do you get talent to join? You give awesome conditions, good pay, good prospect for a career where you can have progression. Progression is key to that. See what's going on right now? They're taking successful game creators, directors. Herman Holtz was the director for Horizon Zero Dawn. He was promoted to what's the exact title? Basically, he's head of PlayStation Studios, and now what's her name?
Angie
Okay.
Spence was the like underneath him.
So Herman Holtz, managing director and co-founder of Guerrilla, now head of PlayStation Studios, and Angie Smets, studio director and executive producer at Guerrilla, now head of development strategy at PlayStation Studios. So they're promoting people from the inside that are showing success, giving them key position within corporate, which is a good thing.
But they're all part of Decima.
Yep.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's
they're
gonna be the bread and butter.
Yeah, Decima is really the centerpiece right now at PlayStation. It looks phenomenal. It looks ahead by years of anything else on the market. Uh,
Yeah, and there's gonna be a third game already. It's gonna be a trilogy for Horizon,
Yes.
and there's an online project in the
yeah,
works.
they just officially confirmed two games today that were just rumors. Horizon 3 was a low key rumor. People were not sure. We knew about the multiplayer games. Now they just confirmed officially both of them today.
It's
So
pretty fast for confirmation. It's already like a year since the game came out.
the thing is, if they go and announce that today out of the blue, like it was nothing, what the hell's going to be at the showcase? So much that they couldn't keep that surprise for a showcase.
You think it's the multiplayer that it's ready?
I think there's live service games that's been in the work for years now, with Haven Studios, as
Yeah,
well.
Jay Raymond.
Uh,
Haven Studios game is not ready to ship. They're
I didn't
now
say
on
that, but ready to show.
ready to show would be a big thing. There's two or three service games that apparently have been somewhat ready to ship since around November, but not exactly. They were going to, but the devs went like, we could work a bit more on it. I think it was
Yeah,
two, and there was a third one coming out around this time of the year. So they were like, we could ship it, but we might benefit for putting a bit more work and making sure it's more polished. So they just decided, like, okay, we're gonna wait. We got God of War, Horizon's gonna get DLC soon, gets people hyped, and we know like there's a lot of drama going on, so we can just make pay people wait a bit, just rely on that content that we have right now. That's pretty darn good quality. So and those should now be ready. So we're gonna see if that those rumors actually pan out. That those games were supposed to ship last year, but they've been delayed, and we might get some monster releases during the summer if it's the case. So that should be very interesting. Uh, just gonna catch up to the chat. So Polaris says, while baseless conspiracy, Sony games or movies on Apple headset announcement in June. Movies, I could definitely see partnership for Sony Pictures, and the games, I could see some of it. The PS VR games, I wouldn't see Horizon, but I would see Sony expand some of their partnership to go along with Apple, the new
Like
VR
Apple.
headset. Hmm?
Okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I was also thinking about their if they could make a possible partnership within the filming rights. You know, they get an Apple Plus exclusive show from a PlayStation IP. HBO has one. Netflix is getting one. I'm
Yeah,
sure Apple really wants a piece of that cake.
that's something else because Apple Productions for content is getting some pretty good stuff in there. So we could see that happen also pretty soon. Good call. Polaris says I guess they have the PSVR 2 though, so maybe not. Their main games like Horizon is built using the PSVR 2 features to optimize it, so I don't think that will go on the Apple headset. Although we could always be surprised. But it's not impossible that they might collaborate to try to get more content on there and so to try to work on their partnership. Which actually wouldn't be not wouldn't be surprised to see Apple come out with the foveated rendering as well, like PlayStation has.
That'd be crazy. That'll be some competition too
Mm-hmm.
with Sony.
So Maker says I doubt that. Maybe in the long run though, could be a smart play to lean on Decima since it would mean more revenue instead of Epic taking a cut of UE5. I doubt Firewalk will show something, but maybe a tease from Haven. Firewalk, I think their game is about ready to show. I think it's one of the games that's
Already.
ready to show.
Fire Sprite's another one. That's for
Yeah,
one of the live service games.
Fire Sprite has been assisting with Horizon Call of the Mountain. They've been more of a support studio, even though they do have a AAA project in the go.
Yeah,
So
they're
I
real
don't
nice service games. So I don't know if it's gonna be shown, but it'd be nice.
It would be nice. There's definitely a lot of projects in the work at Sony, so they should have plenty to show. I think for the summer we'll get some surprise releases, not just reveals. There's factions that been rumored to be almost ready, which could be the other title that we're talking about. So, factions will be an interesting survival MMO, if we can say it. I get the feeling it's going to be halfway between The Last of Us and The Division in terms of gameplay, more for the quest structure than the actual gameplay. It'll be interesting to see what direction it takes, but I'm pretty psyched to see where they're going with that. But Firewalk, with the acquisition that was confirmed, I feel like they're about like the acquisition. I feel was done because they saw the product, they saw the quality, and they know that that studio is a go for being a member of the PlayStation family. So I really feel like the product is ready to reveal. It's probably shipping this summer, but we're gonna see what time. Delve Mini will release in summer, but I could see some announcement for a few titles for fall. I'm personally on the side that it's gonna be some release for the summer because for fall they already have Spider-Man 2. Beginning of the summer they have Final Fantasy 16. They have to pace their stuff, and I think they have a lot right now. So I think they're gonna spread out a lot of stuff here and there.
Well, that could be the reason behind certain delays of a showcase. Is maybe they wanted to justify what release dates would work out in best interest. Imagine if they have such a backlog that people are, being like, "Oh shit, we got this many games for this platform, blah blah blah," but then, bro, the other person hasn't shown their hand. They haven't even shown what's up their sleeve yet.
Yep.
They're literally giving you fucking like little bits here, and they're like, we just got Spider-Man. That's all. Don't worry about us." And then, bam! As soon as the showcase happens, it's like 60 plus fucking games or some shit, and it's like a whole roadmap.
Mega titles you have to own because they're on PlayStation.
Wow. I mean, Sony knows what they're doing. I have confidence in them, and it's mostly because of it's true and tried, and they've shown year after year they're about quality of a game.
Yeah.
So.
One other thing for the games, if they release anything this summer, if it's Firewalk, it's very likely Firewalk is a FPS first-person shooter.
Yep.
That doesn't encroach on Final Fantasy. That doesn't encroach on Spider-Man. They can release that pretty much whenever they want. They could release it like even the day that Final Fantasy comes out. Wouldn't have much of an impact because there's a public that does play both games, but on the larger like display, like looking at the larger gaming ecosystem, it's mostly two different crowds. So they can pretty much release it whenever they want if it's a FPS game, and it shouldn't impact too much the sales of other titles. And factions, like it's going to be a similar thing. Factions is going to be a third-person shooter, more survival style, but could go like Firewalk and faction game. They might want to pace out. But going against Final Fantasy and Spider-Man, we're talking entirely different kind of games. Could see faction announced for November, but since Firewalk was only started 5 years ago, it's highly unlikely the title is ready this year, unless it's a smaller scale title.
Well, again, you can't justify because you don't know how every studio works. You can't just say because, we never heard of them, they might not even be done.
I think
look at Insomniac. They're fucking throwing out games like it's nothing.
And Firewalk, we're talking about a brand new studio, but we're not talking about brand new developers.
Yeah.
So looking at
PlayStation.
They had the support of PlayStation, but also they have a lot of veterans part of that studio. We're talking about it's almost not AAA, it's almost quadruple A. The people they got on board. And like on all of those studios, they went for veterans that been shipping games repeatedly.
I'll put the translation.
Most AAA development is 7+ years now.
Again, it depends. Not
Because
everyone's the same.
7+ years, yes, if you go with a brand new engine and you're like starting from scratch, Firewalk could very well have been using Decima day one. If it started 5 years ago, 5 years, it started to realize that Decima was quality. So
No.
They knew how extendable the engine was on PS4. You get games like Horizon on PS4. You can get it so much on Ethernet on PS5. Oh, that's good, Poppy.
So yeah, I'm really curious to know how that showcase will turn out. We'll most likely cover it live when it happens, because that'll be the big PlayStation event everyone's been waiting for, and it might very well be the biggest gaming event we've seen in a very long time.
I mean,
Maybe.
if they pull the same shit they did with God of War 2018 reveal, that was massive. That was A1 class.
Yeah.
They had the orchestra literally there, just like beautiful music in the background. My man was like ready. He's like, the reveal is huge. All you see is Kratos walking out, and then his son coming in. I'm like, dude, this is
Unforce boy. What a game.
Sony knows how to reveal and market when it comes to time for the big show.
And here, updated PSX experience, PlayStation Experience branding, trademark and logo application, March 31st, 2023. Originally filed on June 11, 2021, in the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Request for expansion of time to file a statement of use. Granted. So, Sony has been working on something here. I'm trying to find a description.
It's happening, gentlemen. It's happening.
Damn it, the
So,
whole timeline is now Forbidden West. Mother effer.
so for arranging, organizing, and conducting exhibition conference in the field of video games for non-business purpose and non-commercial purpose, organizing and conducting conferences for commercial purpose in the field of video game, arranging and organizing online shows featuring video games playing in use, entertainment services, namely live performance featuring video game playing in use, educational services, namely conducting conference and meeting for professionals and consumers in the field of gaming, entertainment services in the nature of providing news and information on current event and gaming via the internet, website, podcasts, webcasts, webisode, blogs, and videos. So PlayStation with PlayStation Experience are building basically a platform for showcasing everything PlayStation.
Yep.
It's time. It's time for Sony to rise.
So maybe if you had the assets created already, but if they have to create from scratch with the engine, it takes years to implement all the systems. There's the difference when you have a game already and can take assets and animation from the previous title. That I could see done in 4 or 5 years, but from a brand new studio, nah, that takes time. Hey, Mostly Martinez, what's up? How's it going, fellas? Doing pretty good. So,
Well, gentlemen, I must go. I got stuff to do in the house, but it was great. I'll be back next week with new topics to talk about. It's great talking to you guys.
no worries. Thanks a lot for joining, Dylan. Have a good one.
Thank you, my friend.
See ya.
See you, Brian.
See ya, man. Take it easy.
All right, so let me just recenter this. So it'll be interesting to see what direction it goes with Sony. They've got a lot they can build on.
They do. I mean, the thing is, it's a matter of when. As soon as they lay down that hammer of like the news, it's gonna go in a frenzy. I mean, some people are making it out to be like I'm already seeing like fan art where it's like, oh, PlayStation Showcase Thursday, May 25th. I'm like, hey, if that's the actual date, awesome.
It's there's been a lot of noise around that. It's been a long time since PlayStation did a big show on that scale.
Yeah,
It's been over 2 years, or
it's
almost
been
two
a
years.
while. Yeah, they've been doing those little
State of
uh
play.
state of play things, and it's nothing crazy. It's like Nintendo, and I get it. It's cool for indie titles or certain little titles just to get more highlight on those games that are upcoming, so that way they can be noticed on that kind of scale. But then at the same time, nothing has hit hard like a Sony experience, or like that's where E3 came into play until that went downhill. And then it's the summer games with Jeff Keighley or whatever his name is.
Yep.
So now there's that one. I don't know. I feel like everyone's starting to do their own thing because Xbox apparently is going to do their own showcase at one point. Before that, the summer games, and then Sony wants to do it before everyone else's so they can beat them to the punch in a sense. And I'm just hoping it's going to be a huge showcase at this rate because it's been a while. Their last showcase was literally in September 9th, 2021.
It's
So
been a while.
yeah,
So Sony is overdue for showing something big, but yeah, the rumors is are that they've been accumulating stuff, they've been building up something, and when it drops, it's gonna be massive because they've been acquiring a lot. They have a lot of resources right now working for them.
yep,
Uh, they got games that look good and beyond good. Decima's looking great. That is another subject. Insomniac have been very secretive about Spider-Man 2. They haven't. We haven't seen any footage at all. Like,
yeah,
not even an inkling of footage. So it's been my theory that Sony is pushing the Decima as much as they want. Insomniac engine has been working well, but I would not be surprised if they got Insomniac to actually take the stuff that worked inside of a Insomniac engine and try to
yeah,
replicate it within Decima and make Spider-Man 2 on Decima. Would benefit largely on the lighting, which is much better on Decima than Insomniac engine, and Decima in itself would benefit largely from having more dynamic scenes, faster loading the screen. Like in Ratchet, we've seen that just blinks from one reality to the other. Like that is phenomenal work that they've done on the Insomniac engine. So if they can bring some of those features, implement them within Decima, and optimize that engine, then all of the games that are using Decima benefit from that in the future. So
yeah, because they can keep improving upon it. So
the more games, the more studios uses it, it'll just keep getting better, which is what we've been seeing in the last few years. Horizon's been pushing it. Death Stranding's been using that, and it's been looking really good. Death Stranding 2 still using Decima, and it's going to look phenomenal seeing how Burning Shores is looking right now. So Sony is on a big win streak, and it doesn't look like they're about to slow down. So
yeah, because the thing with Insomniac is they've mostly been using like Unreal Engine or Unity type stuff. So um, because their first Spider-Man was also using Unreal Engine 4, from what I'm looking at here. So Decima could be the biggest part in those games, just because now they have an in-house engine to utilize instead of using the outsource of Unreal Engine or Unity, whatever the case may be. That's slightly modified using their own assets and whatnot. It's I feel like the Decima engine might play a huge part in the next Spider-Man game, just because it would be the first game to showcase like the huge potential in the Marvel verse of Insomniac, I guess. So I feel like
Sorry about
Decima can
this.
make a huge impact on that.
Because just looking at this, like this is pre-rendered. Spider-Man 2 trailer, the reveal. It's pretty much all we've seen, but you can already see like footage captured on PS5. It looks fantastic. Miles
Yeah,
Morales looks nothing like that.
yeah, and I don't think it's an Unreal Engine at all. Yeah, because Unreal Engine looks good. It does. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they might have actually used Decima.
Like the lighting, the way it reacts,
Yeah, the actual particles, the effects. You can see each individual spark flying out of him.
that's a major upgrade. And that is it does say at the beginning, footage captured on PS5 right here.
Mm-hmm.
And you
You can
see
actually
those
see the full,
reflections.
yeah, the reflections, the actual full numbers of on the door, the actual signage, everything else that's stickered on the side. Uh,
That's
the
the
lights in the
Decima
back.
level of detail.
Yeah, even the foliage on the ground of New York City, like everything because of the rain and everything, everything's just hitting it. That is beautiful looking. Look, the steam coming out of the sewers, like the pipes and
I
everything.
actually have a picture from Horizon Forbidden West that you see vapors like that behind Aloy while she's in a cauldron.
Yeah,
That looks pretty good.
because that's how it is in New York. You see a lot of steam going over through those roads.
Hey, what's up,
So,
John Porter? John, good to see you, man. So, I actually think they might be using Decima for Spider Man 2. Looking at
yeah.
this, which would make a lot of sense of Sony trying to. Because that is the first game that they start production as a Sony PlayStation studio.
And Unreal Engine wasn't like the Unreal Engine 5 wasn't available back at that time when they did the showcase
Mm-hmm.
to be utilized and everything. Because the forefront showcase was for Fortnite, and that wasn't until this year. So I feel like it actually is Decima. I don't think it's in either Unreal or Unity in this case.
And look, that is another thing. You've played Horizon. Whenever there's a machine around with blue lights, how the blue light bleeds. Like
Yeah, that
whenever
looks.
there's a light, it's always bluish and it
Yeah,
bleeds
yeah, yeah.
everywhere.
It looks just like it.
You have exactly the same thing in Killzone Shadowfall. And look at the freaking tip of his spider legs. Exactly the same thing. I'm convinced this is Decima we're looking at.
Yeah,
So
and you can even see further out in the background. Like you can actually see the details of the trees, the buildings. There's more. There's like not a lot of pop-up textures. Like you can actually see a huge view of everything, just like how Burning Shores was able to capture that. You can actually see beyond further than the cross-gen of the PS4 versions.
So mostly Martinez asking Spider-Man Remastered and Morales. Basically, that's Spider-Man 2, the reveal trailer that was shown in 2021. We're looking at this because there's been quite a bit of years of development. Well, years. There was a bit of a break between Spider-Man, Miles Morales. It was very close, and now they took a few years, and now they're releasing this. John says, just finished Burning Shores. Noise. I hope them implement that engine into every game. And by every game, I mean all the games, lol. That's their plan. It's something that was
Yeah, it's for
revealed
first
today.
party.
The
It's gonna
maker
be a majority
says,
of the first party and live service games.
yeah, they want to expand it as much as possible because they know they got something good there. So maker says Spider-Man is definitely not swapped engine. Not what I'm seeing. That wouldn't hinder development severely. Even swapping from Unreal Engine 4 to 5 pushes games back years. But this, okay, Insomniac engine, like you said, was built using like Unreal Engine 4. This is nowhere even near being Unreal Engine 4, and it doesn't look like the Miles Morales engine. There's definitely been some improvements. So there's been so little revealed in terms of visual of Spider-Man other than that trailer, which we know is not just pre-rendered CGI, even though it must be a little bit, but it says that it's captured on the PS5. We actually just want to back up a bit if we can see the details, because we're actually seeing a human out of costume. That might reveal more like a character model. Character model looks pretty good. It's hard to see.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know if I can see it being the Unreal Engine. The other ones, yes, I can. They were really good modified versions of Unreal Engine, but for Spider-Man 2, I don't know about that one.
So looks good, yeah. I could see them shift to Unreal Engine 5, but swapping an entire different development is a huge undertaking. They have the teams to support.
Well, again, this was being done as soon as they were done with Spider-Man, the first one, while they were doing Miles Morales as well, I think. So they probably had plenty of time to be familiar with Decima, and that's why they have so many other people helping other parts of their studios with that engine. That's if they're utilizing it. Again, these are all ifs, possibilities. It's not 100%. It'd be nice if that's the case. But if it is just another Unreal Engine 5, I'm not mad at it either because at least they added a lot more tools to it. Because Fortnite looks beautiful, I can't deny that.
Yup.
But if they had to utilize Decima, they can save some money as well instead of paying percentages, obviously, for utilizing the Unreal Engine 5.
And they contribute to building up that engine.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in seeing how it'll turn out. Yeah, we don't have details about pretty much anything on that. They've been extremely secretive about their production.
Yeah, they haven't said anything, which kind of sucks. And they even responded where it's like, "Yeah, we just ask you for a little bit more patience because it's cooking in there, it's
Yeah, it
smelling great. We're
smelled
almost
good, but it just finished cooking.
so they know what they're doing. I have a feeling it's going to be phenomenal and definitely playing it day one.
So Maker says release a game in 5 years while also shifting to a new engine for a AAA game is nigh impossible. But that's the thing, though, because Sony has a very close relationship to Epic with the Unreal Engine.
No.
Decima, I would not be surprised if Decima, because we don't know much how the interface is designed for Decima. I would not be surprised if it's not too far from Unreal Engine, and if you're already good on one, that it transfers to the other, like your experience and everything. So they would still need to build the assets, or maybe there's even tools to transfer those. But we're talking of Spider-Man 2. They built brand new assets for that game. They're not importing from Spider-Man and Miles Morales because they want to go in much more detailed environment, which what they were using as an engine before, what we've seen, it can't cut that. So we'll see how it plays out, but I get a feeling that they might have done a switch. That's not realistic. They got Sony production to a system, so I might be off the track with that, but I just can't dismiss that idea because the game's looking really good, and Sony wants to pivot as much as possible towards Decima, and it does make sense. And to try to promote having as many ends as possible on that engine to improve it. I'll be here when it eventually comes into it's not using the LOL. Yeah, sure.
Again, it's these are just throwing ideas. It'd be
Yeah.
nice to see, but if it's not, it's not. It still doesn't take away from the fact that it looks good. We're not about to be anal about it. It's like fuck.
No, no,
It's just it'd be nice
absolutely
if
not.
that was one of those games if it did utilize Decima.
Because we know it's been confirmed that they want to pivot as much as possible to Decima. So, and a Spider-Man 2 would be a hell of a showcase for that.
Because then what is the Wolverine going to be utilizing?
Yep.
See, we don't know.
I get the feeling that whatever Spider-Man 2 is using, Wolverine's likely going to use the same. Because they want to release them as close as possible to one another.
Yep.
So Wolverine will be to Spider-Man 2 what Miles Morales was to Spider-Man. Kinda. Which is why I'm led to believe that Wolverine will be in Spider-Man 2.
And at this rate, the pace that they're going, Insomniac is legit the superhero game developers at this rate.
Yeah.
They're the equivalent of what Disney is of throwing out content of Marvel. Now it's their turn to do the same, but for gaming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. They can do a solid Marvel universe at Insomniac. So
yeah. So I have a lot of confidence in it, and all I know is once the showcase comes into play, you mean again, all we got a gist of is small little partnerships that they've done. Just Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy, and Wolverine. But again, what if they drop a whole portfolio of games that is going to be coming out only for PS5? And some of them might be utilizing the Decima engine, some might be utilizing some other in-house engine that they probably have. Who knows?
we know that Haven is using Unreal Engine 5. They said so themselves.
Okay, see.
So there is some
Because
Unreal Engine 5 in the mix as well.
yeah, because Sony has a really good partnership with them, and they said that they're going to be utilizing UE5 on a lot of their games. Because one, the engine is top notch, easy to understand, great assets. I mean, one guy has created a game off of Unreal Engine assets, I believe, the body cam game.
Yeah.
You can be a police officer, and it looks so fucking real because of the assets that you're able to utilize.
I saw a guy take the Simpson game, Hit and Run or something like that from PS2. Like, yeah, he had the PS2 disc, put it in his computer, download all the assets from it, put them into Unreal Engine 5, and just auto populated the map. So it took the map data from the game and recreated the whole map in like grayscale.
Yeah.
And then he took the assets like that at that point in like 20 minutes. And it took him 20 minutes. He was able to take like the Unreal Engine like character robot that you can play with, and he was going around the map exploring it. It was all gray, but he was able to do that in less than 20 minutes, which is impressive as hell. And then he took the textures from the game and like put them in an upscaler, and that part took hours, but not hours of working, like just an upscaler that was using AI to upscale everything and make it look better. Then applied that, plastered that on the map, and he already had like a upgraded version of Simpson Hit and Run from the PS2 in Unreal Engine 5 with just a few minutes of actual work, which is pretty impressive.
And what's even crazier is there's an article or a tweet that came out from my article about Shuhei Yoshida from Sony, who discussed how the AI will change the nature of learning for game developers,
Yep.
saying that people might not even need to learn programming anymore
Yep.
because of how smart AI is becoming to make the job easier. People are still going to be always needed because they can put their own touches, personal touches into these games, the line of code. That's what makes it special. But the AI is going to ease out certain headaches or hassles that comes with development and coding. And that's going to be a beauty to make game development shorter rather than longer without crazy amount of bugs, hopefully. So, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all the news coverage we had for Sony for the most part. Um, It's literally their partnerships, what they are doing little by little behind the scenes, the acquisitions, having a scout basically for their small studios that they'll eventually acquire through organic growth, meaning they work with them and then eventually they acquire them if they show potential.
Yep.
So that's how Sony's always worked: is if they show potential and they show that they have great vision, great work ethics, then they'll
Housemark.
acquire them.
Housemark was exactly like that. There was a small studio that was shipping like small indie games. And eventually
Yep.
they decided, okay, you know what? We're gonna give you a budget. Try to make a bigger game. We'll see what happens. They shipped Returnal, and Sony was like, "We're happy with it. Welcome to the family."
Yep. And it's a
And
solid game.
it's been like that for quite a few games, a few studios that they acquired. Insomniac, it's been a long story between Sony and Insomniac, and eventually Sean Layden kind of let things go with him. And the moment Jim Ryan stepped into the seat, it's like, yeah, no, we need that studio. So solid acquisition right there. Maker says, I think Faction, Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 7 Reunion, Mortal Kombat 12 are guaranteed for the showcase. Yeah, that's a good assumption. Unreal Engine is making some great strides to make it easier to make games. It wasn't too hard for me to make a small game in UE4. Nice. Beat Returnal recently. It's pretty good. Probably controversial take, but in my opinion, Ghost of Tsushima is better than Horizon Forbidden West.
That's all personal taste. But if we're
Yes,
looking at the technical aspects of, again, gameplay, visuals, art style, the depth of the game as a whole, yeah, the Forbidden West is
leagues ahead.
way bigger than Ghost of Tsushima. Now, from a perspective of what I like and don't like, or what eras I favor,
That
then
one's
yeah,
entirely personal.
yeah, I would probably pick Ghost of Tsushima over Forbidden West. But I'm not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, no, fucking
I
Forbidden.
enjoy my dino robots, so
Exactly. Like I love the samurai lore and the story and the characters and the relationships you see throughout the game. It's fucking gorgeous. The gameplay is gorgeous. The fighting, the stances of being a samurai, the showdowns you have, the boss fights, everything is gorgeous.
that's why if Ghost of Tsushima 2 comes out using Decima Engine, oh man. Because
Yeah.
the first Ghost, like, vegetation looked like from afar, like the art direction it took, it looked phenomenal. But still, from close, like it was like, a lot of paper vegetation, a lot of like, it was limited by the engine it was using.
Yeah, certain details weren't that crazy, but as a whole, it was visually impressive.
The
It's one of
artistic
the best.
direction,
Yes, it's one of the best Japanese era games I've ever played.
but now put Decima to use under that team.
Well, that's the thing, though. We have to see how it's going to utilize with the mechanics of the samurai fighting playstyle. How it's going to work when utilizing the showdowns when you got to take on multiple enemies. Can it handle it? Probably, but we have to see how it looks firsthand and the
But
feel of the sword clashing against the others.
but we know Decima was first used for first person shooter, transitioned into Horizon Zero Dawn, and now
Yeah, yeah.
Forbidden West, and they're adding gameplay mechanics quite easily right now with Burning Shores that are pretty different of what it was in Forbidden West, and they
Yeah, they're
were
definitely
able to
making it
make a lot of
multi-purpose.
adjustment.
Yeah, they're
So
making it multi-purpose for the engine, which is great. Just like UE is, it's multi-purpose. You can make
yeah,
any game on it.
so if they can build up the samurai mechanics, it would look phenomenal. I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to do it well with that.
Yeah, especially
So,
for the facial part, because visuals on the faces were freaking amazing when I started Ghost of Tsushima, especially on PS5 with that update and everything. It was fucking beautiful. But like you said, if we apply the Decima engine on top of that, Wow, that would look like the actual movie that they're trying to make with the John Wick director.
Yep.
That's how good it will look.
So, looking at everything going on, Sony's got some, like PlayStation's got some stuff they want to reveal that they've been holding back, and now it's all lining up. They got studios that are being acquired left and right that has very big talent in them. We're
Yeah.
talking like Firewalk and all that. We're almost talking like quadruple A quality. The staff they have on board. Uh, they and with Insomniac now growing to 520 employees, that's a heck of a studio they can rely on. That can have multiple projects going at once. Uh, PlayStation is in a very good place. I think it's never ever been in a better place since the beginning that PlayStation started. So
Yep.
I do believe that we're entering the golden age of PlayStation right now, and it should be a good one.
Yeah. And I have seen rumors of the PS4 Pro, but I'm not even worried about that. I will say this though. If that does occur, I know what I can trade in my other platform for. and I
Yeah,
and I can give this one to the wife and bam, I'm set. I'll just swap out my SSD that's already in there. Eventually, I have to download all my other games that I've had on the base internal, and I'm set.
good stuff. So I think we're gonna wrap up for today. So where can we find you?
I'm always on Twitter at B Silva Portugal. I might be on Twitch. It depends on how I'm feeling because of work. It's been hectic. But it's at X Shadow X5353. I'm like I said, I've lately been playing the Zombie Looters, Dying Light 2 with the new update, and Dead Island 2 is phenomenal.
Nice. As for myself, you can find me here on YouTube and on Twitter, Dr. Spaceman Games. I'll post whenever I go live. It's been pretty busy lately, so I'm not going live as often. But yeah, I'll definitely be streaming more of Burning Shores, and there are some other games I want to look at very soon. So a lot of good stuff. So on this, and also thank you so much everyone in the chat for joining us today. It's been amazing. Thank you again, Polaris, for that $5 donation at the beginning of the stream. I really appreciate it. I think you were gonna say something, or no?
Nah,
Okay.
man. Yeah, thank you guys for watching and tuning in. We're glad we got all the news out there. Inform everyone of what our thoughts are and what we think is going to happen. And honestly, I'm excited for May at this point.
One thing we forgot to talk about, though, that we promised we would talk about: Street Fighter 6.
Oh, we did. So yeah, because JD wanted to hear about it. So Street Fighter 6, I tried out the demo. Because I mentioned a little bit of it, but more in detail. As I mentioned earlier, the controls were horrible, and that's if you play modern. You're very limited. You can literally do a little punch, a little kick, and you can do a simple throw with the tap of the L2. If you do the actual classic controls, you're at free will. You're basically not being handcuffed. That's what it felt like playing the modern controls. You were handcuffed. You couldn't do shit. You couldn't do anything at all. There was
It's
no
like playing bowlings with the
yeah.
side rails.
Exactly. It was bad. I get what they were going with it to make it simplified for kids or people who just aren't good at fighting games. But I'm not great at fighting games, and I still rather prefer the long ass input commands where I can at least feel more in control of my fighter. And I was playing as Luke for the default the fight they had, like the regular fighting mode, and then they had the World Tour, which is weird because it almost reminded me of Yakuza like games,
Yeah.
like the small map. It's different like sections, and they have people you can talk to, or you can just walk up and beat the shit out of somebody. You can be like, "Hey, let's fight," and you level up. You get XP, and you get kind of like a skill tree. You get they actually put loot in it, which is so weird. So they have like a loot gear system where you can put on a cap, like a hat or whatever clothes, and it actually gives you benefits. It increases your damage of what you do, if you're kicking or punching, throw damage, counter blocks. It helps improve your health. your recovery. It also helps with the gaining of your specials. So if you want to utilize your special, you need to fill up the gauge with it. So Street Fighter 6 is definitely going to be the best iteration they've come by so far. Visually, it is gorgeous. I had fun making my own character. The details are crazy. Luke's arm is fucking like Popeye, but the opposite. Instead of his like arms up here, it's like his whole form is completely swollen, like he had the spinach and
Yeah,
everything.
it's
Uh,
huge.
Ryu is the only one who looked normal, but whatever you define as normal, because he's still on roids. But the gameplay mechanics and what they've implemented in now, it's gonna be a definitive fighter game. You can literally go to the hub, play with your friends, whatnot. You want to fight your friends, walk up to them, fight them, boom. It's it's phenomenal. I'm impressed with what they did.
Excellent. Yeah, I tried it a bit, the world tour and all, and it it's pretty solid.
Yeah,
It looks great. It's the Resident Evil engine, RE engine, and they actually did something pretty good with it.
yeah. The RE engine is impressive, especially after seeing the remake and what they've added to it. Everyone's having their own proprietary engine now. Everyone's doing their own thing finally. The only person who I don't think is doing well is, EA engine is ass at times, but that's that.
Let's see,
And
Snow
I think it's Dice. I think they're still doing Dice.
Dice.
I think it's still Dice for everything, if I recall. Because I know they had like some Fire and Night bullshit engine for way back when they did the Madden off of PS4, the initial launch. Then they converted it to like Dice engine for all around, I believe. So that way everyone can utilize the same engine. But it caused so many freaking bugs throughout every iteration of Madden since. And it's just been dog shit. Instead of having a dedicated engine for sports games and then leaving that Battlefield alone as it is. Because I think it's like Frostbite. That's what it was. Frostbite
Yeah,
engine.
Frostbite.
Yeah. And then there's the Tiger engine for Bungie. I mean, the gameplay, like the gun mechanics, is why they utilize that engine because it's down to a T. Like it feels amazing. No other game comes close to the gun mechanic feel. But at the same time, the engine shows it's outdated. It's not going well. The content and everything isn't going well. Apparently the what was it? Something Lightfall or whatever didn't go well. It had horrible reviews. Everyone's just saying bring out Destiny 3 at this rate. It's like they're facing huge backlash, and it's at the pinnacle of Sony acquiring them for guess what? Their knowledge of live service games. When they're already having struggles of their own, then people are leaving their studios. Like no one wants to work for Bungie at the moment because they don't listen, or they're not doing things properly, or they're still stuck on the Tiger engine. But yeah, I'm glad everyone else is doing well with their engines. Decima, RE, Unreal Engine is doing great, and they're getting a lot of people to utilize it. Even Unity looks great for certain games. So
Nice. Excellent. So I think we're gonna actually wrap it up this time. Now that we covered everything we were supposed to. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us tonight. It's been a great conversation. Destiny's backlash wasn't with the engine; it was with
the
that they didn't
content,
do enough with the expansion, especially with the story.
yeah, but the engine's still ass. It doesn't take away from that.
And it
I mean,
ends
I've
on a
talked.
cliffhanger. Oh well. So anyway, we're gonna wrap this up on this. Thanks a
Yep.
lot, everyone, for joining. It's been great.
Thank
So
you.
be sure to hit the bell for notifications. Stick around and be sure to check Brian's Twitch channel whenever he goes live. So on this, thank you. Have a good night.